Hey guys, welcome to episode 28. This is the peer-to-peer network coding session series. Um, what we have done at the last episode was to reorganize the code that we have running as a client of the peer-to-peer network so that it can be easily reused across different applications. So if you see what we did, now we have the desktop app like very clean because it only instantiate its interfaces on this peer-to-peer network client, which is this guy that has everything to do with the network itself, including the social graph network service. So this is the structure that holds all that stuff. Then the web app interface, that is the interface where the messages are incoming from the web app. Uh, we transform this into a very simple router that is going to route this into the different into the different network services. Okay. And yeah, now all looks good, except that here we have a lot of reference to the desktop app, and we shouldn't. um, we shouldn't. So what I'm going to do is to check what are all these references. We have desktop here, like app sign account is one. Okay, let's go one by one. So what we're talking here is about the um, app signing account. Let me check one thing. How do we call this? Because I like to be very consistent in the naming. I will go to the network demo. Peer-to-peer network demo. Okay, so these are user apps. Okay, user app, you have desktop app, mobile app, server apps, and then we have social trading desktop app. That is, to be honest, instead of desktop app, it should be called social trading desktop app because this is what is this about. But still, we don't need to, or maybe we do. Social trading desktop app. Okay, that's another refactoring we can do. Social trading desktop app. But essentially, we are talking about the user app. Okay. Okay. So let's go for that change. We're going to call this user app signing account. Okay, that's one of the guys that we want to replace. Then we will also need the user app default, or maybe instead of having this here, maybe this can be something that we do at the we can do at the web app interface. So my guess is that we are doing this twice, one here and one here. Okay, so this is a good candidate to be let me understand first how is this structure. We receive the message header. But this concept is not even good because this is saying if the origin social person ID is undefined, then I add this stuff. But what if I'm using a bot? Then I would be forcing a default there, so it's not correct. Okay, we check that the query message is so the thing is this should happen at the web app, and this is like a something that is not correct. At the web app we should have access to the environment, or why don't we have the environment here? Let's fix this once and for all. So where are you, environment? Globals, UI, environment. Okay, so I'm just not using it. But let's do this. Query type, origin, social persona ID. Okay, here's the problem. Should be UI dot environment dot this guy. So the problem is that we don't put this here. Okay, so what happened with the event message? But it's not even in this. Hold on, we'll find all of them. Okay, but the problem is that we need the node ID from the secrets file. So do we have access to the secrets? No, we don't. So it doesn't make sense for me to improve this web app application because it's just a testing stuff. It's not the real one. But what people should do with the real one is to have a list of the different social personas IDs and send that. Okay. So because I don't have it and I don't want to do that at the web app, I'm going to revert these changes at the web app. Discard changes. And I'm going to go back here. And probably going to move this. Okay, I'm going to take this out from here. Hmm. The problem, if I take it out, then I will have to check if it is a query or not a query to put it inside. So maybe I'm not going to touch this now. This is where I get this console. Okay, so I cannot solve for this guy now because it causes more problems than. Okay, so for now I will keep this here because this is something that we're going to remove anyways. So So this is going to be sign in account, old name. So we will replace this, but before I will need to send this peer-to-peer network client here. Okay, it seems that we already have it inside here. So we are going to call this by a better name. Also, okay, we need to remove this also from here. But at the service, we will do this. And then we will have that we can replace all of this by this guy. Okay. So we still have this guy. We still have this guy. And we still have this guy. So one guy and the other two are going to be removed after the merge with the guys of the peer-to-peer of the social app. Okay. So now we need this guy. We need somebody to send the message to. So from the point of view of the social graph network service, this, for its point of view, is the social graph network service. So it's sending this message to the other network service. If it happened to travel via the peer-to-peer network, it's not the problem of this social graph network server client. essentially. So at most, we can call this a proxy, okay? So what we're going to do here, what is this? Mm-hmm. Okay, this means that we will need this guy. Let's put it inside here. What a mess I'm making. Okay, this is the parameter, so we are going to store this in there. And at the finalize, that is never going to happen. We are going to undefine this. And whenever we are using this, we need to add this object. Okay. So we will have a guy that we will call so network service. Instead of client, it's going to be proxy, which means for us that it's not going to be the social graph network service itself, but it's going to be a proxy to that. So that proxy can be essentially anything. So we will receive that also as a parameter, and we are going to have this object dot equals to this, and then we will look into desktop here, and we are going to send this object dot proxy. Okay, so that's a nice way to isolate this service from the problem of transporting the message through the peer-to-peer network. Okay, so what we had here was peer-to-peer net or peer-to-peer network peers. Okay, so we will need to initialize this with that. Okay, so when we initialize this service, we are going to send this object and this guy. This is going to be the proxy of the service because we send the message over there and magically it will arrive. So what we did here was to remove all the reference to the desktop except, oh no, there is another one. Also, okay, okay, now we have these two things that are going to be deprecated. I need it for now so that my test continue working. But once I move into the testing directly with the React version, then I will depreciate it, and that's it. I wonder if I don't need to stringify this one now. Okay, so we are done with the social graph network service client. At least for now, it has quite a lot of functionality that might be put somewhere else, but I don't think we really need that. Um, I think that this will be need, or we will have to check this out. Let's put it here for now, and then we fix this too. Okay, so we have cleaned this as much as we could. Let's test it to see if we can move forward. The network is working, so I'm going to run the desktop. Perfect. Perfectly working. So that means that I'm going to commit this. Social graph network service client. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is that we're going to remove this, but first I'm going to make sure that we don't have references from in here to the desktop app or whatever desktop we are talking about. Okay, so here we need target network code name, target network type. So these are like the definitions the network needs. Okay, target network type, target network code name, and max outgoing peers. Max outgoing peers. This is the maximum amount of peers we are going to be connected to. Okay, so the guy who is initializing this is the desktop app, and we will need to add there target network type, target network type, target network code name, outgoing peers. Okay, these are all the parameters needed. So outgoing peers, come here, target network type, target network code name in there. So here, desktop is nothing that we can find. Okay. Okay. So we check back this again. Okay, everything's working. Cleaning, peer-to-peer network client. Okay, now this looks good. I don't really like this name. I'm not sure this represents well what that node is, that module is. Yes, I'm going to refactor this too. But first I have the pending refactoring in here. And with this require create error that I don't know why is here. Okay, I'm going to have to upgrade this to use to save user profile and to restore the user profile to use the containers, the storage containers. Yeah, so that is something I will need to do, but I really cannot test this very well because I don't have that feature, but I will do it anyway and we will test it with the other guys. Get user profile data. What is it? Yes, because we still have this concept of user profile, but mm, if I recall, they were saving everything. Okay, yeah. Okay, I will have to migrate this to open storage. We'll write it here. Migrate save and load user profile to open storage. Okay, so probably the last thing I'm going to do now is peer-to-peer network peers. Just a rename here because this is not a peer to me when I am a client, so I don't like it. And this model hold the peer-to-peer nodes we are connected to. So I can call this peer-to-peer nodes peer-to-peer network nodes connected to. Peer-to-peer network nodes connected to. So let's check where all this appears. Wow, all good. That means that the better the naming, the better we can remember and understand a big system. So if you check this, we have the app bootstrapping process, peer-to-peer network client identity, reachable nodes, nodes connected to, an interface is always a place where things or messages come through. And if this is the network interface, it means message coming from the network into here. Social graph network service client. It now looks tidy to me. Bueno, good. Um, Now this looks perfect to me. It's quite clear, and by reading the names, I can remember and also understand what that means. Okay, now we have everything we need, like very, very well organized. The next thing on the list is migrate, save, and load user profile. So these guys added P2P Network not connected to, we don't need you. These guys added a few functions to save a user at storage. If you recall, we made these functions to save post as or save a post as storage and load a post from storage. The only problem here is that we need to also save our user profile at the storages. So probably many of the things we are doing here, we will need to do it again. Let me check that out. Maybe we can reuse something. What's the difference between if this is a post or not? Well, for posts, we are creating these 5 keys, which we are going to send to the social, to the peer-to-peer network. In the case of the user profile information, we actually don't need that because the user profile information is the user profile information doesn't go to the network. Um, Also, another difference is that we are not going to be encrypting this. Okay. So save post as storage, save user as at storage. It's not even a user. What we need to save is a social entity. So I'm going to create a new function and then we are going to replace this. I'm not sure also. Okay. So let's do this. Save social entity at storage. Okay. Then we will have save social entity as sync. Okay, so we are going to retrieve the social entity in the same way. Okay. Okay, these are the same validation. So we will have here not an even message, but save message. Okay, so we do all these validations and file stamp. We don't need the timestamp or not even this stuff. File content is going to be the save message dot social entity data. Just social entity. Then we're not going to have a password or encrypted file content. The file name is going to be a hash. No, it's not even going to be a hash of the file content. It's going to be the ID of the social entity, something that doesn't change. So we have the social entity node, okay, from here. This is not considering bots yet, but it's good enough for now. So the file name, we cannot hash it because then we are not going to know which is. So social network dot ID, this is going to be the file name. The file path is going to be social entities. Social entities. And that's it. So the file and the story container defined. So we don't need the file keys, but we are going to iterate through all the storage containers. Plim plum plum. If it is a GitHub storage container, we're going to save the file name, file path, file content. We will not need this web3 set and the storage container. If we could save this well, then we are going to count this. And if we couldn't save it, this message is incorrect. This comment. So if we couldn't save it, then we count it as not saved. In any case, when all files have been saved, we are here. So if save is greater than 0, we don't need anything of this. We just need to social entity save it and resolve. We're going to differentiate the messages. Social entity file. Okay. And just like that, this should be saved. This should work. this function we are going save a social entity. Open store the message form expected is the message equal, and we will need this. Okay, and this would be the function that saves user at the storage. Which is quite similar to this one. So we can delete this one. And then we'll have a function to load So what I'm thinking now is if the saving of a user profile or the message is an event or not. Because if it is not going to the network, if it's not going to the network, then probably it's not an event. Maybe it's a profile message and it's not an event type, but it's a profile. Okay. We will call this profile message. And profile message, the difference is that it's not an event. So we don't have a commit message. We don't even have an event message. And of course, we don't need to send this to the to the peer-to-peer network. Okay. So we will do a copy of this guy. And we have another type of message that is called profile. So here, event type, blah, blah, blah. This is not profile. So we remove this guy from there. And here we will have profile message instead of event message. So we replace. So all this. Okay, so we have a new type of message of the social graph. That is a profile. A profile message, the main characteristic is it doesn't go to the peer-to-peer network at all. Just save and retrieve profile data. Okay, that's all. It's very simple. So we have this first validations and stop. Then we don't have event type. We go profile type. And we will need a new file for this. Social trading, event types. Okay, we will okay. So we will need to add this to the profile schema, project schema. Profile types, new social trading global profile types, and this, of course, profile types and profile types. Profile type, profile types, profile type, profile types. Then at profile types, profile types, so from here we will remove this guy because it doesn't belong here. Well, we're only going to have two actions. What action were these guys using to load the profiles? They're putting like a query. Social persona data. Interesting. So we will have save social entity in general. Save social entity, and load social entity. So let me check this product schema, query types, social persona data. Let me see if we actually remove this from everywhere. It would be not query type, but profile types. And this would be like load social entity. And in this case, the same. Okay, so another thing I would like to know is this event type, new user profile. It would be profile types, save social entity, and this here. Okay, and hopefully okay, so here we go. So what I'm doing is trying to organize this stuff in the best way and more clear way possible. So we're going to use this switch. If this is like this, then we are going to do, sorry, we're going to do this. Oops. Response is going to be directly equally to whatever comes from there. In fact, we can just return this. Okay? Because there's not going to be anything else to do. Okay? So, and in case this is a load social entity, then we're going to replace this by load, sending the profile message. And in case this is a default, then we're going to say that profile type not support, and that's it, and that this is perfect. Okay, now I like it. So another thing we are not going to need is this require here. And we just need to recode this function. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so to load this function, we're going to use something similar to load post from storage. It's going to be load social entity from storage. So let's do it here. Okay, load social entity from storage. What you're going to receive here is a profile message. We don't really need this stuff. So this load social entity async. So when we save this, we try to save it as much as we could, one, two different places. So when we load this, we will need to do the same trick that when we save it. We will need to iterate over all the storage containers. So here there is a difference. In the other, we have the file keys that tell us all the places where the file has been saved, actually saved. Here we don't have a file keys. Because we are not sending this to the peer-to-peer network. Because it's a unique file. So it's not like a file per post, it's just one file. Okay, so this means that we will need to do the same trick than here. So all these validations, we will need to copy them. So if we get this, it's important to be consistent with the naming. So cannot load because blah blah blah. Okay, so we have the mechanism to abort when we find at least one of the content of one of the files. So what we need to do is iterate over this. So here we get the storage container because we got the ID. And from there we continue. But now the storage container, we get it from the available storage. So here the storage container is there. So that means that we are not going to use this. So the file name, which was the file name when we saved this? File name and file path. Okay, so now we have file key is irrelevant. File name, file path, and storage container. On file loaded, file data, file, message, social entity profile found, social entity not available at the moment. Okay, so this file's key's length is now this length. Why? It's not going to be test, but we're going to respond with the same property name that we received the stuff here. That was profile data. Profile data is going to be file content, but here there is no decryption, just this, or to be more precise, we need to parse this. File is going to be this parsed, but we haven't created a file with an object. We just, it's in our case, this is like this, and the file goes here. Well, I'm not sure this is going to work. but it should. Maybe I should simulate this to test it. Okay, so we're going to simulate this, both the load and so how do we simulate this? It's a good question. Maybe come in here and outgoing social persona ID. So we're going to override the message header. The message header equals and message header dot this. So we need the origin social persona ID and the profile data that is going to be this is the string file data. Okay. Request type is going to be profile. And then profile message is going to be this. So that is how we are going to test this. What you're going to need is to set up a GitHub token for this. GitHub token. So we'll create a new access token for this test. Oops. Why I cannot do this? I don't know. Okay. So we create one access token like this, and this. And once we have it, we will put it inside our API secrets file so that we can access with this token. There's something wrong here because I'm supposed to have my social trading data. This should be backup. Okay. Then one of these guys should be this backup. Okay, these are my two storage containers that we created in a previous episode. This is the access to them via the web GitHub token that we just created. And what else? We had the network running. So we will test saving this stuff. So we just run this. Okay, so we receive network service social graph, query message, blah, blah, blah. We don't care. We override it by this and this. So that means that we will have profile message. Okay, so the profile message should be stringified. No problem. We can do that. Okay, let's go again. Go. Okay, so no, it's not going to work because we are setting this with an empty string. We just need to remove it. So let's go again. go, 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 go. Okay. Now, profile type. Okay, we need to be this. Okay. So let's improve our test. Let's put this here. Run again. Okay. That would be better there. Okay, profile, boom, bim, boom, boom. Profile type, save. So profile message that we are going to save have this information. Okay, let's go inside and then let's jump into here. We got a social entity. So all these validations are going to be okay. File content is this. File name is this ID. File path, social entities. So we're going to come here and put a breakpoint there. One file, save it here and here. So this should all go well and get a storage container. Now I don't remember having saved my profile. So the last change, it didn't work, but it's still going to work because it has the same code name, so it's going to use the same token to access GitHub. So it doesn't really matter here. But yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is not really waiting for the other stuff to happen. which is going to contaminate my test. File not saved. Okay, what is the problem here? Save file. So the saving is not working. It seems. Then it worked. Okay, all files save it count 0. Save it count 2. So one try it save it, the other one it didn't save it. Probably was we tried to save the same stuff 2 times, but who cares? So if I check GitHub, we're gonna check GitHub here. My social trading backup. We have the new folder, social entities. This is the profile, one of the profiles, the social persona profile. And this is the stringify profile data. It's pretty much save it to me. So next test I'm going to make is, so I would guess this is working. It just send it too many stuff at the same time. So the next test is going to be about loading this stuff. Okay, so we can stop this. F10, then boom, profile, all good, and it's going to load this. So we'll get in here, and everything is going to be okay. So we have file not loaded, and we are going to iterate this guy, get the container, okay, file name is going to be this and this, and then so we will see here if we come back here or not. So what is this? Message received. Okay, again we got the same problem. We're going to come up here on file loaded. Beautiful file. Response is okay. Profile data is this. And you can resolve and go. Then another okay. Solve and go. Okay, beautiful. So I'm just going to remove the test code and I'm going to declare this a success. We have successfully converted this old method of saving our profile data into the new way. Okay, so let me commit this. Um, okay, so let's recap. What we achieved at this episode was the complete reorganization of the client side code of the peer-to-peer network that includes the network, peer-to-peer network client, plus the social graph service, at the exception of a few things that we cannot move now, but we are going to deprecate them later. Also, the we upgraded the mechanism for saving and loading a profile so that we use open storage, which is more resilient and it doesn't require you to clone the local repository into your machine. Okay, all in all, it was a good session. So thank you for watching and see you next time.